Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really getting into something complex, often hidden actually. We're looking at the financial realities inside Gaza after nearly 2 years of conflict.
Yeah, it's a site people don't often see or talk about.
Exactly. We're using insights from reports like Hamas's secret war economy and Gaza's plight, and some others too. We want to understand how Hamas has kept parts of its operation funded and, crucially, what that means for ordinary people living there. So our mission today is to sort of unpack the mechanics, often dangerous mechanics, of a wartime economy. Okay, so let's start here. Almost 2 years in, right? Hamas has faced intense pressure. Military capability weakened, political leadership hit hard.
Definitely. You'd think the whole system would just collapse.
That's what I thought. But here's the really striking part. They've somehow kept a secret cash-based payment system running.
It's pretty remarkable, yeah. This system is paying something like 30,000 civil servants.
30,000. How much money are we talking about?
Well, the total comes to around $7 million or about 5.3 million pounds in salaries.
Okay.
Now, it's not their full pre-war salary, not even close. They're getting like a maximum of just over 20% of that.
20%.
Yeah, so it typically works out to maybe $300 every 10 weeks or so.
Wow.
And what's just fascinating, really, is how they pull this off with basically no functioning banks left in Gaza.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How does this money actually get into people's hands on the ground? No banks, high risk.
Well, it's complex and incredibly dangerous. So an employee could be a police officer, could be a tax official. They get an encrypted message on their phone, maybe their spouse's phone.
Encrypted. Okay.
Right. And the message tells them, go to this specific place at this specific time. Often it's coded like meet a friend for tea or something similar.
Like something out of a spy novel.
Pretty much. So at the meeting point, someone just, discreetly hands over a sealed envelope with the money, and then they just vanish. Poof. No extra words, nothing.
The danger involved in just picking up your pay, it must be immense. Do we have accounts of what that's like?
We do. And it really drives home the personal cost.
Yeah.
There's this quote from an employee at the Hamas Ministry of Religious Affairs. He said, every time I go to pick up my salary, I say goodbye to my wife and children. I know that I may not return.
God, that's chilling.
And the same person, he actually survived an Israeli strike. It had a busy market in Gaza City, which was apparently being used as one of these salary distribution points.
And Israel knows about these points.
Oh, absolutely. They actively identify and target Hamas salary distributors.
Yeah.
It's part of the strategy to disrupt Hamas's ability to, govern it all.
So, okay, they take this huge risk for what, $300 every couple of months? How much help is that, really, given the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza?
You're right to ask. Gaza's conditions are just horrific. Severe food shortages. Aid agencies point to Israeli restrictions as a major cause. And we're seeing rising cases of acute malnutrition, especially in children.
And the prices.
Oh, the inflation's unbelievable. A kilogram of flour, the basic flour, has recently cost as much as $80.
$80?
For flour. It's an all-time high. It's nearly impossible for families to cope.
It's just heartbreaking. We heard from Alaha, a school teacher, sole provider for a family of 6. He got 1,000 shekels, which is the local currency, about $300, like you said. But he described them as worn-out banknotes. And he said only about 200 shekels were actually usable. The rest were too damaged.
Tattered cash, yeah.
He told the BBC after 2.5 months of hunger, they pay us in tattered cash. Often he still has to go to aid points for food. So what does this do to loyalty, even among Hamas supporters?
That's a really key point. Despite getting something this tiny salary, a fraction of what they need with prices so high, it's actually fueling resentment. Even among people considered, party faithful. It's just not enough.
Okay, so it's causing resentment, but the system is still running after almost 2 years of intense war. Where is the money coming from? How do they manage to keep this funding going?
All right, well, according to a senior Hamas employee, someone familiar with their finances, the group apparently stockpiled a huge amount of cash before the October 7th attack.
Stockpiled? How much?
Approximately $700 million in US dollars, plus hundreds of millions in Israeli shekels, all supposedly hidden in underground tunnels.
$700 million, wow.
And these funds were allegedly overseen directly by the Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar and his brother Mohammed. Both, as we know, has since been killed by Israeli forces.
Okay, so stockpiles explain some of it, but what about before that? And what about now? What are their other ways of getting money?
Good question. Historically, Hamas relied heavily on, well, taxing the population of Gaza, import duties, other taxes. They also received millions directly from Qatar over the years. And about 10% historically of their budget came from the Muslim Brotherhood, based in Egypt, though it's banned there now.
And the military wing.
The Qassam brigades. They operate through a separate financial system that's mainly financed by Iran.
Okay. And during the war itself, are they still finding ways?
It seems so. Reports suggest they've continued levying taxes on traders who are still operating. And they've apparently sold large amounts of cigarettes at massively inflated prices.
How inflated?
Get this. A box of 20 cigarettes that cost maybe $5 before the war now sells for over $170.
100 times the price.
100 times. It's quite the markup.
And this financial network is obviously a target. We saw that with Ismail Barhoum, right? The head of Hamas finances.
Exactly. He was killed in that March strike on Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis. And the accusation was specifically that he was channeling funds to the military wing. So it shows how intertwined this all is.
So beyond these cash payments, what about other forms of support, like humanitarian aid? How has Hamas handled that, and what's been the reaction from people?
Right. Well, besides the cash, Hamas has also distributed food parcels, mainly to its own members and their families. They do this through local emergency committees. But the leadership of these committees apparently gets rotated frequently because they keep getting hit by Israeli strikes.
So aid distribution, but targeted. Has that caused problems?
Oh, absolutely. It's fueled a lot of public anger. Many Gazans accuse Hamas of basically giving aid only to its own supporters and leaving everyone else out.
And there have been accusations of outright theft too, right?
Yes. Israel accused Hamas of stealing aid that came in during a ceasefire. Hamas denied it, of course. But interestingly, BDC sources inside Gaza did confirm that, yes, significant amounts of aid were taken by Hamas during that period, which feeds that perception of unfairness.
You can only imagine the impact of seeing that happen. We have testimony from Nisreen Khaled, a widow with 3 kids. She said, "When the hunger worsened, my children were crying not only from pain, but also from watching our Hamas-affiliated neighbors receive food parcels and sacks of flour."
That's just devastating to hear.
And she asked this really poignant question, one you have to think others are asking too. Are they not the reason for our suffering? Why didn't they secure food, water, and medicine before launching their 7 October adventure?
Yeah. I mean, if you step back, it just throws into sharp relief that tension, that huge tension between trying to govern or project governance and meeting basic human needs in a war zone. And it shows how critical perception and trust are when things are so scarce and how quickly that trust can just evaporate.
Okay, so let's try and bring this together. We've looked into this intricate, incredibly dangerous, but somehow still functioning secret economy. It's sustained parts of Hamas's operations, even while Gaza suffers immensely. We've seen the risk people take just for a partial salary, and the growing bitterness over how aid seems to be distributed.
Yeah, this deep dive really shows the sheer financial complexity behind the conflict, and it paints a stark picture of the reality for people caught in the middle. It shows that even when an organization is weakened militarily, even when its administration is shattered, these clandestine financial systems can somehow persist.
They provide this fragile lifeline for control, for sustenance, however inadequate. So for you, the listener, here's something to think about. Hamas is severely weakened, facing clear internal discontent. Yet this complex, dangerous financial system keeps operating, fueling that very resentment. What does this persistence and the anger it generates suggest about the sheer scale of the long-term governance challenges in Gaza? What deep-seated issues might remain even if somehow this conflict were to end tomorrow?